Hello students, this is Mrs. Sonal Patil. In our previous class, we have completed up till replication of DNA. Today, we will study about experimental proof for semi-conservative nature of DNA replication, which is an important question again from exam point of view. It was first shown by Matthew Michelson and Franklin Stahl in 1958 in Escherichia coli and subsequently in higher organisms. It is popularly known Michelson and Stahl experiment. They grew E. coli in a medium containing ammonium chloride, where N15 is a heavy isotope of nitrogen. It was nothing but as it was the only nitrogen source for many generations they used. The result was that N15 was incorporated into newly synthesized DNA. This heavy DNA molecule could be distinguished from the normal DNA. So the heavy DNA could be distinguished from the normal DNA by centrifugation. Centrifugation was performed in cesium chloride density gradient. They could distinguish the normal DNA from the heavy DNA. Then they transferred the cells into the medium with the normal N14 ammonium chloride and took samples at various definite time intervals as the cells multiplied and they have extracted the DNA that remained as double-stranded helices. The various samples were separated independently on cesium chloride gradients to measure the densities of DNA. Thus, the DNA that was extracted from the culture one generation after the transfer from N15 to N14 medium had a hybrid. So it had a hybrid or intermediate density. So it had the hybrid or intermediate density, remember. The DNA extracted from the culture after another generation composed of equal amount of its hybrid DNA of the light DNA. Very similar experiments involving use of radioactive thymidine to detect distribution of newly synthesized DNA in the chromosomes was performed on Vicia faba by Taylor and colleagues in 1958. The experiment proved that DNA in chromosomes also replicate semi-conservatively. Here again the same thing has been explained diagrammatically. So remember, Matthew Michelson and Franklin Stahl, they grew E. coli in N14 medium, that is nothing but ammonium chloride, where N15 is a heavy nitrogen been used. The result was that N15 was incorporated into the newly synthesized DNA and other nitrogen containing compound as well as. This heavy DNA molecule could be distinguished from the normal DNA by centrifugation in cesium chloride density gradient. They have transferred the E. coli into the medium with a normal ammonium chloride with N14 and let them grow. So here what happened, E. coli divides in 20 minutes. They took samples at definite time intervals as the cells multiplied and extracted the DNA that remained as double-stranded helices. Okay, so this way various samples were separated independently on cesium chloride gradients to measure the densities of DNA. The DNA that was extracted from the culture one generation after the transfer from N15 to N14 medium had a hybrid. So you can see here it had a hybrid or an intermediate density. The DNA extracted from the culture after another generation, that is after 40 minutes, was composed of equal amount of this hybrid DNA and the light DNA. So this proved that the DNA or the replication of DNA is semi-conservative, and the experiments have also proved that the DNA in the chromosomes also replicate semi-conservatively. So that is about the Michelson and Stahl experiment. Remember, for 5 marks the question will be asked. Next we will study about the transcription. The process of copying genetic information from one strand of the DNA into RNA is termed as transcription. Here also the principle of complementarity governs the process of transcription, except the adenosine now forms base pair with uracil instead of thymine. However, unlike in the process of replication, which once set in the total DNA of an organism gets duplicated in transcription, only a segment of DNA and only one strand is copied into RNA. This necessitates defining the boundaries that would demarcate the region and the strand of DNA that would be transcribed. Now, why these both the strands are not copied during transcription has a simple answer. First, if both the strands act as a template, they would code for RNA molecule with different sequences. And in turn, if they code for proteins, the sequence of amino acids in the proteins would be different. Hence, one segment of DNA would be coding for two different proteins, and this would complicate the transfer genetic information transfer machinery. Second, the two RNA molecules, if produced simultaneously, would be complementary to each other. Hence, they would form a double-stranded RNA. This would prevent RNA from being translated into protein, and the exercise of transcription would become a futile one. Transcription unit. Now, transcription unit in DNA consists of three regions: a promoter, the structural gene, and a terminator. So it is having a promoter, structural gene, and terminator. So this is the transcription unit. Very important question. There is a convention in defining the two strands of DNA in the structural gene of a transcription unit. Since the two strands have opposite polarity, the DNA-dependent RNA polymerase also catalyzes the polymerization in one direction, that is 5' to 3'. The strand that has a polarity 3' to 5' acts as a template and is also referred to as a template strand. So that is called as template strand. The other strand which has polarity 5' to 3' and the sequence same as RNA, strangely this strand is referred to as coding strand. All the reference point while defining a transcription unit is made with coding strand. To explain the point, a hypothetical sequence from a transcription unit is represented below. You can see one sequence is there from 3' to 5', which is acting as a template strand, and another one is running from 5' to 3', that is a coding strand. The promoter and terminator flank the structural gene in the transcription unit. The promoter is said to be located towards 5' end of the structural gene. So you have seen that the promoter is present towards the 5' end of the structural gene. So the promoter and terminator flank the structural gene in the transcription unit, and this promoter is present, it's located towards the 5' end of the structural gene. It is a DNA sequence that provides binding site for RNA polymerase, and it is the presence of promoter in the transcription unit that also defines the template and the coding strands. By switching its position with the terminator, the definition of coding and template strands would be reversed. The terminator is located towards 3' end of the coding strand, and it usually defines the end of the process of transcription. There is additional regulatory sequences that may be present further upstream or downstream to promoter. So let me show you once again the transcription unit. It is having promoter, structural gene, and the terminator. So promoter, this promoter is located towards the, you can see, towards the 5' end of the structural gene. Promoter is nothing but it is a short sequence of DNA that provides binding site for RNA polymerase. Presence of promoter defines the template and coding strands. If the position of promoter is changed with the terminator, the definition of coding and template strand will be reversed. Structural gene, coming to the structural gene, The DNA strand having polarity 3' to 5' is called template strand for transcription. The other strand of DNA having polarity 5' to 3' is called a coding strand. So 3' to 5', this is called as a template strand, which is running from 5' to 3', this is a coding strand. The sequence of nitrogen base in the RNA transcribed from the template strand are same as the coding strand of DNA except having thymine in the place of uracil. Then the terminator, you can see is present over here. The terminator is located towards the 3' end of the coding strand. It terminates, the name is telling you that it terminates the process of transcription. It is also a short segment of DNA which recognizes the termination factor. So this is a transcription unit, will maybe asked in the exam. So the important question from exam point of view again. So remember, it is having three regions: a promoter, a structure, the structural gene, and the terminator. So today we'll stop here, and in the next class we'll begin with the gene and the gene structure. Thank you.